Unlike most tiger fanatics, I actually took the liberty of actually reading this account, and I find it quite compelling. Now, this account was grossly exaggerated by tiger fans, and a lot of misconceptions were spread. So I'm going to give you a very quick rundown on the whole basis of what actually went down, and I have some very powerful points to really shine the light on this whole account and show you what actually happened. So essentially, there was a woman named Toro who lived with her wealthy father. If he wanted, he could have built a house rivaling even Raja, who was a king at the time. Now, Toro was so beautiful to the point where it got spread throughout the entire empire, reaching even to the ears of Raja. Of course, after hearing this, Raja got up and rode straight to Toro's house. Then he proceeded to bargain Toro's father to try and buy his daughter from him, which the greedy father agreed to, and he sold his own daughter. It was nighttime when Akbar, who was noted to be a wild beast trainer, came to check on his beloved, only to learn about what the father did to his daughter. So he made haste and went to rescue her. Now Akbar chose to walk through the jungle only to hear the whining of a very large cat. According to his description, he described the tiger as enormous. He saw the enormous tiger rolling on the ground in agony. With closer inspection, he saw that the tiger was actually injured and it had a thorn stuck in its paw. Akbar approached the enormous cat and spoke in a very strange tongue. Eventually, he took the thorn out, the cat licked his wounds, and then he licked the hand of Akbar as if to show his gratitude. Now Akbar hurried to go and save his beloved Toro, and strangely enough, the tiger actually followed him. They finally reached at the palace, and eventually with great stealth, they got in. And also keep note, the tiger was still following Akbar at this point. Eventually they found the room where Toro was being held, and at first even she was scared at the sight of the tiger, but Akbar put the tiger through some simple tricks which reassured Toro. Then they proceeded to make haste and try to escape until they eventually got surrounded by a vast number of soldiers. Toro was thrust back into the woman's harem, and Akbar was taken to a huge cage in Raja's main audience hall where he was confined with his pet tiger. And from here it would seem that Raja and his men were waiting until the tiger would attack Akbar, but for several days the tiger didn't, and the Raja grew tired of it. And here's where things get interesting. By the end of the 5th day, Raja ordered Nero, one of the largest lions in captivity, to be thrust into the cage with the tiger and Akbar, and he was quite confident that Nero would put an end to both of them. Both the lion and the tiger sized each other up. The tiger growled and shook his tail in fury, and the lion's eyes were said to have lit up. I'm not going to go into full detail and give a full description on the fight. I have the actual account here so you could pause and read it for yourself. But it was said that the lion and the tiger had fought for more than an hour. Eventually the tiger clawed and ripped and tore the flesh of its adversary until Nero sank to the floor of the cage, a bleeding, lifeless carcass. And then Akbar threw himself on the lifeless carcass. Aroused with fury, the Raja drew his jeweled sword and entered the cage to try and slay the tiger. But of course he lost and he died like an idiot, and he left the cage open. And then Akbar, Toro and the tiger made their escape. Now let's pause for a moment and actually talk about this account, right? Now to answer the question, was this fight fair? In short, no, absolutely not. This was completely unfair. Reason being, when we go back to this passage, right, they specifically highlight that Akbar chose to pass through the jungle, right, which is the wild essentially. That's where he found the tiger. So that already indicates our first contestant, the tiger, was in fact a wild tiger. They never said anything about the tiger being in captivity. Akbar essentially found the tiger in the jungle. Now when we cut across to the part with the lion now, they specifically highlighted that the lion was from captivity. So this already proves that this fight was already unfair and was already one-sided. It couldn't possibly get more worse than this, right? You're grossly mistaken. Now before I actually reveal the truth, right, I've literally seen tiger fans talk about this on other websites, and will try to use the same exact accounts to try and prove a tiger's superiority. There's also a latest trend that tiger fans are trying to find accounts that will prove that a lion's mane doesn't offer protection. And I've also seen that they use the same very account to try and prove that. They'll mention the fact that the lion was one of the largest apparently. And because it was one of the largest, that means it had one of the largest manes. They will claim that, but without actual proof, right? It's just because the lion was one of the largest lions in captivity, they'll assume that the lion have a very large mane. So it kind of in a way buffs up the whole possibility that this tiger prevailed in a battle with one of the largest lions who possibly have one of the largest manes. Now again, I saw tiger fans talking about this account, right? And here's the funny thing, right? They will show pictures of the tiger, right? And remember the part where they said on the 5th day the lion was deemed to be thrust into the cage with both Akbar and the tiger? You do realize the picture of the lion was literally right next to that, right? They will show that picture where the lion was supposed to go into the cage with the tiger, right? To fight it. But they purposefully never actually show the picture of the lion. And I have a good suspicion as to why. Now I have the picture. I will show you the picture. And you'll see why they purposefully never actually try to show the picture. Now I've seen other tiger fans did videos on this. And it's either they couldn't find the picture, or they deliberately saw the picture and just didn't want to show it because they know the actual truth. But assuming that they couldn't find it, right, I will show you the picture. Now, take a look at the actual picture. We can notice a number of things. One, the size. The size was obviously exaggerated. This is Akbar's body. Akbar's body is literally as long, if not longer, than this lion, right? His body could almost cover the lion. So if they're saying that this lion, right, is one of the largest in captivity, and Akbar literally could almost cover the whole lion with his own body, could you imagine the other lions? The other lions must be either dwarfed, or they are nowhere near fully grown, or they are just straight up cubs. Because if this is one of the largest lions in captivity, then could you imagine the actual size of the other lions? They must be dwarfed. The length of Akbar's whole body and the length of the lion's body is almost neck and neck, and we all know lions actually dwarf humans in overall height. And with a further inspection of the lion, we don't see any big puffy mane, as tiger fans would boldly claim that the lion had a big luscious mane, or that proves that the lion's mane doesn't offer protection. Now upon closer inspection, we notice something very drastic, and it could change the whole game. This was a female lion all along. That's the reason why these tiger fans didn't actually show the picture. Now for the ones who couldn't find it, they probably genuinely couldn't find it, then all is forgiven. But for the people who actually saw this account, because to get the actual picture of the paragraph where they said the lion was supposed to be thrust into the cage with them, the picture was literally right next to that paragraph. So the fact that they saw it, for the people who talked about the account and they got pictures, they purposefully dodged the actual picture and showed pictures of the tiger, and it shows their biased nature. A wild, and not just any wild, it's been constantly described to be an enormous or tremendous sized jungle cat. So we literally have a enormous wild male tiger who struggled in a battle with a captive lion, and not just any lion. The lion wasn't even that big. And to top it all off, the lion was literally a lioness. It wasn't a male lion. Also, you wanna know what is the biggest shocker about this account? They said that the lion and the tiger fought for literally an hour. Now, don't freak out, right? Think about this. Literally, the lion and the tiger fought for literally an hour. By looking at this tiger, we can identify it as undoubtedly a male, right? Now when you think about it, right? If this lioness, a captive specimen of all specimens, right? A captive specimen who wasn't even that big, hold its own for literally an hour with a tiger that was described to be enormous or tremendous in size. But to be honest, I think that was also exaggerated. I think the tiger was just probably larger than an average tiger, let's just say. But it held its own with a wild male tiger. Could you imagine if that tiger fought a male lion? Just imagine that, right? They said that the lion and the tiger had a battle for literally an hour, and now we know that the gender of the lion was a female, and by observation the tiger was a male. So could you imagine that, right? A male tiger literally struggled in a battle with a captive lioness. Could you imagine what a male lion would have done, right? Could you just imagine? And this is one of the main problems I have with the lion versus tiger community. We have a lot of pathological liars and we have a lot of bias in this community. The fact that these tiger fans literally showed pictures of the tiger but not pictures of the lion, it shows that they are pathological liars. They constantly deny the actual truth and they literally spread false information. The truth hurts, but it could also set you free. Take this from me. Now again, if you were one of those innocent tiger fans who genuinely couldn't find the picture of the lion, all is forgiven. But for the people who did, you know what you did. You lied. And it shows your egotistical behavior. And it reveals your true nature. And how do you expect people to believe you know? And this goes for both lion and tiger fans, right? Even if you found an account that doesn't even go in favor of your cat, please don't be biased and try to lie, because when you lie, this is why this whole debate isn't going absolutely nowhere. If you constantly lie like this, we won't go anywhere, and that is why this debate is so toxic, and that is why a lot of people are losing their sanity and a lot of people don't take this debate seriously. Then for both lion and tiger fans, I humbly request, please tell the truth, don't lie. Because the more you lie, you're digging yourself a deeper hole. And not just for you, but for others too, who support you. Please, just tell the truth, please.